The next modality that I would like to showcase is LiDAR data, and I have two projects here. One of the projects is labeled and the other project is unlabeled. Let's start with the labeled one. So for this project what we have is number of classes and no tags defined. And we have here Kitty dataset and Leaf dataset. So let me open Leaf dataset and show you how populated point cloud, populated with a lot of objects, point cloud episodes might look like. So what we see here is actually point cloud with quite a number of objects and also photo context. We see three images here, but we can essentially pick other images, other cameras if we want to. So it's actually a 360-degree view here supported. And this episode, point cloud episode, consists of 124 point cloud frames. And if we move across this episode, we'll see, so right now the car is on the intersection and is not moving, and maybe on the second half of the episode the car will start moving like this. And let me do the following here. Let me probably just align myself with this front camera and do something like that. So what we essentially see here is that the car on the point cloud here is matched to the car on photo context, so that's kind of the same car. And let me probably just play this. So if I stop, here is another matching. So you see this example of sensor fusion, and I may also, maybe just for illustration purposes, align myself with the back camera so it will look like this. So I will, in this case, I will see the car on the point cloud and the same car on the back camera, and here is yet another car, and I can play like this. Let me probably say here that at any point you can pick an object and actually select and actually change the shape of the object, either here in the projections or right here on the point cloud. And probably one last thing is just to mention that there are a number of objects here, and I may pick any object here and see all the figures where this object present on a scene. So for example, let me just for illustration purposes, so that if we pick an object, we may see occurrences of this object on different point cloud frames. The next thing that I want to do is to take a simple point cloud episode and show you how we can manually label several objects on this episode. So let's do that. Okay, we have here unlabeled point cloud project. Let's open it, and we just have single class called car, and the shape associated is cuboid. And we also have just a single tag called stationary. So this is a tag which we might want to attach to, say, stationary objects. So let's just open this simple point cloud example. I will use Kitty dataset for that example. It has just single camera and 107 point cloud episodes. Probably I will do the same operation as I did previously. I will just align myself with this camera and say we may move forward for some time, and probably we will just label, say, these two cars on multiple frames. And the way we do that is the following. So we pick a cuboid here and place this cuboid on a car like this, and I will adjust orientation here of the car so that this little bar indicates the direction where the car might move. In this case it's stationary car, but let me just use these projections to to adjust cuboid, and we can also take a look at photo context while we are working with these projections. Yeah, so it looks like might be it. Maybe this side is off a bit. Okay, so I have labeled one car. I will deselect this one and probably label just another one like this. Again, I will use these projections to place this cuboid. Let me try to do it more or less precisely. I think let's zoom out here to make sure that we are doing it in the right way. Yeah, I think it's close to what it should be. Okay, so let's stop here. And what we achieved right now, we just labeled these two cars, we put two cuboids on a single point cloud frame with number of 27. And maybe what I would like to do next is to just to copy paste these cuboids on the next frames. So I just can press Ctrl C. Oh, I have one object selected, so I just copied this selected object. Let me deselect it, press Ctrl C, so I copied like two objects. And then I will move to the next frame and just paste them. And let me do that for one more frame. So this is just a copy-paste approach, and in the following sections you will see way more efficient ways to label data on point clouds. But let me just stick with this basic example. So on this frame the boxes are tight. Let me move to the next one, say pick this one, and I may adjust it right here in the projections, or I may select this axis and move right on the point cloud. So something like that. Yeah, I think it's more or less okay. And let me also select this one, pick an axis and move it across this axis so that we get a fit here. Okay, so and we have one last frame to correct this one, and let's do the same operation here. So again, I will edit this cuboid right here on the point cloud and place it here, and I will do the same. I will deselect this one and I will do the same with this next cuboid. Yeah, it's more convenient to move it right here along selected axis. Yeah, so, and we see this on the photo context, the results. Okay, so let's inspect what we have achieved. We have labeled two cars, and we have labeled them on 3 point cloud frames like this. Let me do and probably I can show that actually we see these two objects, and these two objects as three figures. So again, this interface is naturally built to work with time domain, so that objects on one frame is consistent with so that objects may occur on multiple frames. Okay, so probably what I would like to do as a last step, probably I would just like to select the object and attach a tag to that. And as I did in videos, I may specify the frames when this object has certain property. But say in this point cloud episode, these cars are stationary, so I will just say that for this episode, I just attach the stationary tag to this object, to this car. And let me do the same operation for the second car. So I will also say that this car has this stationary property across all the episodes. And you see that You see these two cuboids and this stationary property, stationary tag that we added to each of those cars. Okay, let's move on to the next modality.